person just needs to take an emotional breath.
So today I had extra cover, which allowed me to catch up big time on my discharge medicines reviews, or DMR as we call them. The room I do them in can get cold sometimes, so I turn the heating on. The DMR service is a two-part service with a patient or the carer within the first 4 weeks after they have been discharged from hospital or another care setting. It is a very simple and straightforward service I usually provide in the pharmacy. The first part of the service involves a cross-check of the patient's repeat medication before admission with the discharge note from the hospital to check if any changes have been made. The second part of the service provides support to the patient in how to use the medications, especially if there is new medication. This part of the service has been useful in picking up adverse drug reactions as well as compliance issues. Usually for the quick checks for adverse drug reactions, I use the BNF app and then look into it in more depth of the individual interactions after. If required, I will call the GP surgery. In this case, I had a need to call the GP and ended up as number 25 in the queue, so I got a blister pack and checked it whilst I was waiting. I would usually do a clinical check on the prescription first, then accurately check the outside items, the ones that don't go inside the blister pack, and then bag them separately. Okay, from now there's a lot of footage of me just checking blister packs and doing DMRs, so in the meanwhile I'll tell a story. Once there was this lady who came to the pharmacy counter and she was talking to colleague A. She basically had this wound, it didn't seem like a rash, on her wrist and was blaming our staff that because of the advice we gave it got worse. Colleague A tried to resolve the problem by listening to her frustration, apologising and tried to give her advice on what to do next, but the patient didn't seem to want to listen. The patient kept on blaming us that it got worse because of the advice we gave the past Saturday, which is why she'd been waiting for a doctor's response since 8:30 AM. By this time it was well into the afternoon. The so-called advice she claimed that we gave was to cover the wrist area where the wound was with a tissue, keep it clean, and that she didn't need to see the doctor. Okay, then she suddenly confesses that she had cleaned it too vigorously, which might be a contributing factor, but the overall blame was still at us. So when I saw to her, I asked her how did she get the wound she had on her arm. She did not really answer my question and said that she suddenly got it on holiday, that she didn't have any allergies, she went on the same holiday as a partner and he didn't get the rash she claims it to be. It definitely looked more like a burn in my opinion. I pushed for an answer and asked again how did it come to be, and she still kept on saying it suddenly appeared. At this point I realised we were not going to get anywhere with this and she was starting to raise her voice, so I apologised about the so-called wrong advice we gave to her on Saturday and told her that what I can do for her now is recommend some large dressings to cover it up, as the tissue she had in her hand didn't look very hygienic. Whilst I was saying this to her, she kept cutting me off, and when I eventually personally took her to the plasters and dressings section, her eyes started to well. I asked her if she was okay, and then she said that this was the advice that she wanted. Then her eyes started to stream. I was just so confused, but now thinking back, I think she just wanted someone to attend to her and talk to her maybe. Not too sure, maybe she was self-conscious about the wound on her wrist. I asked the patient if she wanted a private space and she said no thank you, so I directed her to the self-checkout area. I hope she's feeling better now. I wanted to get to the bottom of this, so I asked my staff if anyone served that patient, as she was quite a regular, on Saturday, and colleague B said that she did. And I asked what did she come to the pharmacy for, and my colleague said that the patient showed her a cut on her finger, not her wrist, and wanted advice for that. So colleague B said to keep it clean, cover it up with a plaster, and if it gets hot or sees yellow discharge, she needs to see a doctor. The stories don't match up. Anyway, the patient got the advice she wanted, and thankfully it wasn't an emergency situation. It's not nice when you get blamed for something that you didn't do. When I was scrolling through Instagram, I saw this reel and I think I was in this situation.
This is a hard one. Sometimes when people repeat things with me over and over again, I sometimes listen to it because I realize the person just needs to take an emotional breath. They're saying it again because they just need to vent.
This whole episode happened when we had a huge queue of patients. I was really flustered because I had lots of walk-in prescriptions I needed to check, people waiting to speak to me, and care homes needing my support. It doesn't really matter whether the patient lied or not, although I believe that my colleague provided the correct advice. However, reflecting back to that situation and through this reel, I think what the patient needed was someone to listen and to essentially vent their frustration. And it was unfortunate that it had to be me when I was in that state of mind. I hope I think differently and better for next time. I only included this video because I was proud of how I was able to see the monitor screen, the discharge letter, so it's easy to compare, and include no patient details in it. Checking this blister pack was cute because it had a heart-shaped tablet. It's by Sorpilot 7.5. This is my deluxe lunch sandwich made by my mum, and because I was stuck inside in the same room all morning, I went out for a wander. I went to Marks and Spencer's and bought some Percy Pigs and what are they called? Colin the Caterpillar sweets for everyone at work. These are my childhood sweets, I love them so much. Percy Pigs, but I like the fizzy pigtails the best. That's because they're actually sour, even more sour than the Haribo Tangbasticks, I think they're called. I wanted to change in scenery, somewhere that is quiet and peaceful, somewhere I can hear myself think, so I went to Waterstones, which is a famous chain bookshop in the UK. I love Ghibli movies, and I was really surprised to see a book about Ponyo and how they created that anime film. Look how cute she is! It was really nice to see that manga books were on sale. Tokyo Revengers, I need to finish the season. Spy X Family, I love that anime. Anya, and I love Demon Slayer, that was pretty good as well. Fruits Basket, I really enjoyed. Well, this one is a Korean webtoon and it was being sold here. I was really surprised to see this too. I don't know who that is. There's Rengoku, the best Hashira in my opinion. There's figurines and Ghibli souvenir stuff. I will be needing those because I'll be going to Japan myself. I did not miss this textbook, I'm glad it's on the shelf. Atomic Habits was a good read, I totally recommend that. And now lunch is over, I come back needing to check this prescription. That's what they did. Korean, Italian, and yeah, no, I will.
All together.
Oh.
I like the top one. Who wrote the top one?